And welcome back once again to the effects playlist. In the last lesson we looked at noise gate, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at what the effects loop is, how to set it up, and kind of the purpose of it. Alright, so before we get into the effects loop, let's just kind of take a look at this setup here. So I have a noise gate which is eliminating all my hum. I got a distortion pedal, and that's going right into my amplifier. And then something weird happens. After my amplifier, I'm going into a reverb pedal. Now, if you're a beginner and you got kind of a bottom of the line amplifier, you're probably thinking, how do you set that up? Because most of you guys would just be running in like this, okay? But let's compare the sound difference here. So here's how it sounds with the reverb at the end. And then if we move this, let's take a look at how that sounds. It kind of distorts a lot of the reverb and almost kind of washes out the entire sound of it. Same thing will happen if we use a flanger, or a phaser rather. Again, it's going behind the amplifier, so really nice and clean sounding phaser. And if we put it before that, it adds a lot of distortion to the phaser effect. And we can't actually move it anywhere else in our signal chain in this line 6 program. So the question becomes, how do we actually set this up to sound like this in real life? And to do that, we need an effects loop on our amplifier. If you don't have one of those, well, then you're pretty much stuck with this sound. So we still need to know a few basic things, and that is, in an amplifier there's two stages. There's the preamp section and there's the power amp section. And if your setup looks like guitar into your effects pedal into your amplifier, then you're completely ignoring the fact that your amp has a preamp stage and a power amp stage. The effects loop is placed directly between the preamp section and the power amp section, right here. Typically the effects that go in here are time-based effects, such as reverb, delay, phaser, and flanger. Anything that had that frequency that we were talking about, or a speed adjustment, would sound great in this effects loop. If your amp has an effects loop, chances are on the back of it you'll see an effects return and an effects send. Also, on the back of your multi-effects pedal, you'll probably see something that says return and send as well. If you're not using a multi-effects pedal, then you can just simply place all of these effects right into where this effect loop would be and have your distortion pedal and other non-time based effects before the preamp section. To properly set up the effects loop, we're going to need to use something called the 4-cable method. This will require 4 instrument cables to set up properly. To set up the 4-cable method for single pedals, we need to set it up like this. We have our guitar, which goes into the in of the first pedal that is not in the loop. From there, the output of that goes into the amp input. Our amp send goes into the first pedal of our loop. And then the last pedal of our loop goes into the amp return. Think of the send as being sent out of the preamp, and the return is being returned back into the power amp. So it's sent out from the preamp into the effects loop, and then it returns into the power amp. For a multi-effects pedal, it's slightly different, but it's still not too complicated. The guitar goes to your pedal in, your amp send goes to your pedal return, your amp return goes to pedal out, and your amp in goes to your pedal send. Here's an overview of all of that. When using a multi-effects pedal, it obviously eliminates all the other pedals that are there. But you will have to go into the actual settings and create an effects loop inside your pedal. That varies from pedal to pedal, so just be sure to check your manual. Alright, so that's the effects loop, and that about does it for this playlist. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and also play around with the different order of your effects pedals. See what happens if you change up, like moving your phaser before a flanger or whatever. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.